I want this to be the sequence that leads up to Hitler's death.
Oh, this is a story of Hitler dying. Okay.
This is
one guy, Sam, scares Hitler so much he kills himself. Is this the script?
It's a bit of a revisionist history, but I think that it's got some good elements to it. It's a story about two boys from the heartland who take off and kill Hitler himself. Recording. And we're started.
Welcome to 2 Week to Write, the
Take
podcast. Take two, baby. Welcome to 2 Week to Write, the podcast where two guys, both named David, not by choice, spend 2 weeks writing as much of a script as they can based on a random writing prompt. Usually, we have a friend with us, a very funny person who carries the podcast to read it along with us. This week, we have no friends. Everyone we asked was busy.
I feel like the weather changed, things have been opening up, springtime hit, and everyone was like, I'm camping, dude. I'm with my friends. I have a family. Some people have children, which is absolutely bananas to me that we're doing that now. That's wild.
What a positive way to look at it, rather than them actively avoiding us. You're thinking, no, it's something else. It's not us. It's something else.
I had a moment the other night where I was hanging out with a bunch of friends I hadn't seen since high school, a bunch of people and their significant others all hanging out, watching the Bruins game, and two of my friends just chatting with each other. And I've known these guys since we were complete derelicts, breaking into Plymouth Plantation in Massachusetts, which, if you don't know Plymouth Plantation, they recreate the 1600 colonial period. They have like a full native tribe living alongside a bunch of white people living in their little homes. And they just like fish and make canoes and stuff. So, back in the day, we used to break in there and drink and pee in the graveyard and do, irresponsible
respectful shit.
Irresponsible shenanigans. And now those two friends sitting on the couch next to each other going, we're thinking of having a kid in the next year. And then, within 5 years, we're probably going to move to Maine and settle into a nice little quiet existence. And I'm sitting on the couch going, so nobody wants to take another dab. We're good on dabs?
So wait, just a quick question on that front. I'm cleaning the screen. There we go. You can cut that out. Quick question on that front. Yeah. Now see, now I'm getting all juicy. There we go. So so were you the third wheel? Like, out of your two friends, are they dating?
There's a larger group. There was maybe seven people in the room.
Gotcha.
But I was just noticing how their conversation was the first adult conversation in the room where I'm like, man, we were still doing crazy stuff last year. And now everyone's like, well, time to settle down. And,
how old are you again? How long do I have until I have to settle down?
Well, I would not like to disclose that on the podcast. I'm 21 forever.
What a terrible age to be forever. I'm content with my age. I'm 25. That's my actual age. I'm okay with this.
I'm 29. Got 4 years on you, I suppose.
Great. So in 4 years, I'll either kill myself or be married. Exciting.
Well, yeah. You want to look at it that way? Yes.
All right. Enough. Man. So yeah, you've been traveling. I've been traveling.
Yeah. How was your time in Florida?
Oh, it was. I drove down actually from New York to Florida, spent some time in North Carolina for a divorce party.
Nice.
Which I think should be more popular. Like, my friend Dylan, she was getting divorced. Never met the guy who she married. So we just went there. She got divorced. It was great. We met her new partner. He was a chill dude. We had a great time.
Wait. Yeah. I assume that she got divorced previously, and now she's like, now we're celebrating it. You didn't go to the courthouse with her and they annul the marriage, and then the new guy's there and he's like, I'm the reason for all of this.
I don't know the timelines, but no, I did not go to the courthouse. I offered. I'm like, I would love to attend one of these. Here's a good time. I'll be in the back with a bottle of champagne, just pop the cork. Mazel tov.
You can't do that at the courthouse. There's plenty of cops around.
I'm almost positive. At the courthouse. I'm almost positive every cop be like, that's kind of funny. Yeah, you can have. Here, just give me some.
Dude, my friend used to work at the courthouse, and this one guy, he had just beaten a DUI charge, and in the parking lot, he cracked a tall boy and sped out of there and got immediately arrested. Because all the cops are just hanging outside the courthouse, waiting to be witnesses and whatever, and they see this guy did that guy just crack a tall boy? It's the worst place for drunk driving.
He peeled out. I'm not drunk driving. I'm drunk celebrating. I'm here to celebrate others. I'm not driving anything. I'm being responsible.
okay? It's a
Yeah,
Tesla.
yeah.
You got a
Listen,
chauffeur.
I'm just a nuisance. I'm not actually driving. But yeah, from there, I went down to Miami. That's why I'm wearing my old man golf shirt. Spent time with my grandparents. He gave this to me. It's
Very
way too
cool.
large, as you can see. I don't know how
I
to get it on the
absolutely
camera.
love it.
It's
Also,
extremely big on me.
I didn't realize you were there because of your grandparents. It makes a lot of sense, you being a New York Jew, that the aging members of your family all moved to what I assume is South Florida.
Yes, yeah. I spent time with them in West Palm, then went down to Miami to visit some friends and do shenanigans shit. You know the typical things one does in Miami.
Oh yeah,
Yes, but
cocaine.
I didn't say that. No. And then from there, I flew back last night. Here I am. I'm exhausted. But more importantly, I have done no writing. I have nothing prepared. Haven't written like 2 weeks. I'm so far behind. You, on the other hand,
I have crammed something out. Look, I do not claim that it is good, but so what I've learned from the past few weeks is that you always write these characters that they have like backstories and they're well formed, and I just have like a zany situation that kind of makes sense, and there's maybe like one nugget of funny. So this time I tried to write an actual narrative. Like I set some characters up. There's some backstory. It is a buddy film set in 1945 France towards the tail end of the war. And it's about two good old boys from the country who grew up doing shenanigans together.
what country?
And now they've
I feel like you should specify what country. Real quick.
No. They're from the country. They're from Michigan.
Okay.
And
okay.
they enlist together and they find themselves in occupied France. Well, they're liberating France. But they, being ever pranksters and ne'er-do-wells, have been demoted down to health and sanitation on the base. And so it is about the dreams of one man, Sam, to have a big impact in liberating France in the war and get that bastard Hitler. And, his friend, Tyler, who is more of like, I just want to get back home to my family and, yeah, we'll have some fun, but I don't have dreams. I don't have to kill Hitler. That's his whole thing. But so I've been writing it this week and just trying to fit it in. I've actually, also in the past, here's me improving, a little bit of growth. I would usually just cram the whole thing out in 2 sessions. And now this was like 7 or 8 sessions, like an hour each. So I had time to let things marinate. I had time to go back and try and write a joke. It's very different than the first draft.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's good or funny, but it's going in the right direction. And
listen, if this podcast does one thing, and I don't think we do many things good, but if we do one thing well, it's that we promote growth on here. We don't care what we're writing, but we're just trying to get a little bit better. You can be the worst shit of all time, but you know what? You try something new, bud, and we love you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a wild week as well. I'm trying to move out. Like I'm in my childhood bedroom at this point, and I'm trying to move out, and it's difficult because things are still opening in the pandemic and I want to move to a new city, but I don't know anybody there. So I told myself, okay, I'll sign up for some in-person activity. That way I can make friends. But all the in-person activities I wanted have booked the hell up already. So I'm like, and I wanted to do like, I don't know, like an improv class or something like theater adjacent, because I'm super cool, very popular. And it's all booked up. So I've been trying to figure that out. And then the other hard thing is my parents live near the ocean. And I went down the other day and I surfed for the first time in a while. And I mean, the waves were these like 6 foot tall, gentle giants. And I'm out there by myself, just literally, I believe the term is hooting and hollering. And I'm screaming, fuck yes. And I'm smiling and I'm like fist pumping the air. And it's hard to leave your situation when you have a day like that. Because, I mean, I saw nobody. Like, I didn't have friends. I went out alone. But it was such a good day out in public. And but then afterwards, I was like, okay, now I do want to go see some people. I want to figure something out. And everybody that I know in the area was busy. So I had a nice little solo dinner by myself at a restaurant. I hadn't eaten at a restaurant in a bit. And it got a little sad. So what I'm saying is you have the balance of life. You have the extreme highs of
this is a comedy podcast, David.
I'm surfing. This is the best moment of my life. And then a few hours later, you're like, what am I doing with my life? The anxiety creeps in. And I think, to draw the parallel, it's a lot like trying to write something and revise something. Because you go through moments where you're just like, I'm obviously going to be on the red carpet. I'm going pro. And then
I don't think writers go on the red carpet. I think writers are hidden in the back room. They go on the blue carpet.
I don't know how it works, man. But I mean, I'm going to get some creds. I'm going to, people are going to want to collab. We're going to write some cool shit. And then the next day you're like, I'm garbage. I hate myself. I'm going to be an accountant. Things are bad. And that's the process, man.
And that I'm happy you have a process. I think that's the most important thing, to start a process. Is mentally healthy for you? Not at all. It sounds like you need tons of help, constant therapy, maybe some medication. But nonetheless, I'm happy you have something for you. Me, I'm unstable. It changes each day, how much I write or not. But at the end of the day, we're here. We're ready to read. We're ready to write. And I love you, bud.
Love you too, bud.
Even though I started this podcast as basically as a way to get you to talk to me again because I was concerned for you, I'm happy. I'm happy you're back.
Look, only one of us moved to the Midwest. If anyone needs to be concerned about the other one, what's going on out there, bud?
I think I don't know. I just got here last night. I bought a rock gym membership this morning because in Miami I realized how unhot I was.
Do they call them rock gyms?
I'm climbing rocks. It's a gym.
Yeah. Never heard the title.
What is rock climbing gym? It's a rock gym. It's fucking, they got rocks. I don't know.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought that was okay.
It's an incorrect term, but I'm calling it a rock gym.
I don't know. Might be right. Shall we dig into this?
Yeah, sure. Tell me what character I'm playing. Can I be?
There's a few different characers.
I want to be the scaredy cat.
Probably would have helped if we had. Again, you'll notice I haven't put a script title.
You never, my boy.
That's my old ways.
Our guest was going to be our friend Jared Rockwell, who's been doing stand-up for I think 12 years now. He's like a really funny guy. He's actually has a lot of writing experience. He also has been traveling these past few weeks, and he's like, he's in DC right now. Yeah. He said, yeah, I can be on the show. I can put it on my. You cool if I'm just recording from my phone? I'll just tape it to the wall. We're good. We're talking. Like, listen, anything's fine. I'm good to do it. And then he texted me last night. He's like, yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay.
There is one comedy show that I used to go to in Boston where, people would sign up and then, because the thing goes till 2 a.m. So if people get tired and disappear and then they call your name, the host would always go like, and Jared Rockwell is banned for life. Yeah.
Jared's going to be on the show. He's the person I thought we were going to have as our first ever guest. It just didn't happen.
All right. So let's get into it. So this first scene now, there's a few things going on. We have a guard outside. We have a small French boy. We have Sam, our protagonist. And then we have 3 other guards. So we're going to have to do a little swapping around. I can play the protagonist. You can play the protagonist. How do you feel about that?
You can be the protagonist. I want to be Hans. I have a great German accent.
I want you to, right now, you need to pick 2 different types of German accents. And you're going to be guard 1 and guard 3, as well as Hans.
So one of them is going to be a Nazi scientist. That's just what he's going to sound like. Fantastic. The other I'll come up with on the spot.
I will be Sam and the little French boy Renaud, and I'll also be guard 2. So you'll be guard 1 and 3, and Hans.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, and look, surprise! I wrote some dialogue-heavy areas, so
yes,
this is some change.
Right.
Okay,
so Schnitzel.
Find the right
Schnitzel. Yeah. Back of the throat. Yeah, on the back of the throat.
So we begin. Exterior night, France, 1945. Rain pours down on a small villa in the French countryside. The village is dark, but there's one home whose windows are lit up with the yellow glow of a light bulb. Inside, we can hear the dim laughter of German voices. A German guard, Hans, sits out in front of the house, rifle loosely slung over his shoulder. He lights a cigarette. From a small ditch, our protagonist, Sam, belly crawls up through the mud. His face is in full camouflage makeup. He crawls up alongside the edge of the house, in the shadows towards the guard. A dog growls at Sam as he sneaks along the building. We see a young French boy letting his dog out to use the bathroom.
Well, no, the curfew.
My dog, he is so restless. Hans cracks a smile at the boy and leans down to pet the dog.
Well, maybe we will allow for this for cute dogs.
We see Sam along the corner of the house in the shadows. Hans is mere feet away.
Aren't you just the biggest, most ferocious little?
And Sam leaps out from behind the guard and puts his arm around the guard's neck. And Renaud goes, Mon Dieu! They struggle. Sam's grip gets even tighter and tighter. The boy is pulling his dog back, who is growling and yipping louder and louder. Hans goes blue in the face. The rain pours down. So this is our opening sequence right here.
So it starts with the full-on gruesome murder of a Nazi guard. I'm cool with this.
Yes, but a Nazi guard who's a little bit of a human. He's a friend of the dog, clearly, friendly with the boy.
Because that's what society needs right now, humanizing the Nazis. So
I
really,
just want people to know,
yeah.
Hashtag not all monsters, okay?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I disagree, but all right, continue.
Hashtag there were a few good ones.
No, I'm not. This is not the pod's official stance. This is all David Hernan's official stance, not mine. Very against.
Oh, you
stance.
Also realize that I learned what continuous means in a script. So basically, there's a lot of continuous cuts.
I love when you discover something new because it just shows up in every script, and you're like, yes, a new skill.
Interior, the house, continuous. 3 German guards sit relaxed at a table, playing a game of cards. They drink steins of beer and laugh loudly while a small radio plays Bavarian polka. Inside, we cannot hear the struggle over the revelry. So you're guard 1 and 3.
Next one to lose has to leave Hans outside.
No. Let the guy with a wife and kids do the boring work. Keep the card games and fun for us bachelors.
Let the people with nothing to live for play. Maybe it'll make them tougher. Oh, a sweet.
And then I raise a beer glass to Hans.
Oh,
Hans. That's your line.
The difference in voices. Oh.
Yeah, I got that.
No, that's not. That's the Nazi scientist one. To our friend Hans, the free French's best hope.
So we're getting some more backstory on Hans right now. That's what I'm trying to do. We, even by
He's
Nazi
a guy
standards,
with a wife and kids.
Yeah, he's a softie. The Nazis recognize him as a softie. Again, hashtag not all Nazis.
No, not again. Once again,
I'm talking about the original ones. I'm not talking about Neo ones. I'm talking about the Nazi.
I'm just not going to sympathize with Nazis at all. I don't know what you want from it. I'm just not going to do that.
I want to say, for the record, I do agree with you. But for this piece, let's suspend our disbelief. Then we come back to exterior house, continuous. Hans the guard starts to black out as Sam constricts his neck. He lays him on the ground. The dog growls at him. Renaud, the French boy, is frozen, shaking with fear. To the boy, shh. The only good Nazi's a dead Nazi. Right, kid? Vive la France.
Hey,
the
David.
boy stays still, shell-shocked. Yeah?
What time of year is this? If you had to guess a time of year, what time? Give me a month.
Springtime,
Would you say May or April?
Probably April, because April showers bring May flowers.
Mm-hmm. You know when Hitler died? You know when Hitler died, David?
Yeah, I think right around then. I didn't look it up, but I want this to be the sequence that leads up to Hitler's death.
Oh, this is a story of Hitler dying. Okay. This one guy, Sam, scares Hitler so much he kills himself. Is this the script?
It's a bit of a revisionist history, but I think that it's got some good elements to it. It's a story about 2 boys from the heartland who take off and kill Hitler himself.
You know what? Sounds great. I'm fully invested now. I was before iffy. Now I'm loving this story. Yes, Hitler died on April 30th.
Yeah,
Hitler died
so
April
we're
30th.
talking. This is like April 12th.
So they need about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks to kill Hitler.
2 weeks. Okay. We got 2 weeks to make it to Berlin.
2 weeks. 2 weeks to kill Hitler. Let's do it, fellas.
So we cut again. Oh, wait, no, we don't. Sorry. And Sam continues, I would say it would be wise to turn your gaze away from what's next, but I believe that free France is a country where you can make that decision for yourself. Sam proceeds to start undressing the guard. The
Jesus,
dog growls louder.
Does an infomercial, immediately starts robbing the dead. That's American, all right, baby.
Then we cut back inside. The guards continue their drunken joking about their dear friend Hans.
I caught that softy giving his rations to the family next door.
That was the Jewiest Nazi you've ever done, my friend.
And I told you, I have two voices. That's one of them.
I don't know what his problem is. This Nazi, he won't kill.
That wasn't the line, David. You didn't tell me a lot of improv.
That wasn't the line. I was just riffing on Jewish Nazis. Okay, card 2. Going hungry. I can't do a German accent. Give me a word that gets me into German.
Schnitzel. Scheiße.
Schnitzel. Didn't help at all. Going hungry for France. Imagine.
Next, you'll be giving... Oh, my God, I lost it. Hold on. Schnitzel. Schneise. Schnitzel. Next, you'll be giving birthday presents to the child. Classic mistake, Hans. You'll have 2 families before he knows it. That was like Scottish story. That was like Sean Connery at the end there, right?
You have the next line.
Imagine us covering to that high-ups for Hans' kind nature.
Oh, hi, Mr. Hitler. Is this guy here? Is this Hans? Oh, no, he didn't let those poor French go. He's just giving them a big head start when he hunts them down.
That was good. You got it back.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Mr. Hitler. You see, that's not him giving prisoners chocolates. It's chocolate laxatives. You're diabolical. That was a different voice.
You got it. We cut back outside. Exterior house continuous. Sam is now fully dressed in Hans's outfit. He puts his hand in his pockets and does a little twirl to show it off. The dog starts growling louder and louder. Sam, feeling in his pockets. And what is this? He pulls out a little dog treat from Hans's pockets. Oh, a Nazi treat for a little dog. He tosses the treat towards the dog.
Why would you say that in a German accent? He's a good old boy from Michigan.
He's having fun with it. He tosses the treat towards the dog. The dog pauses, growling, looks at the treat. After a beat, he looks back at Sam and resumes growling. You know what, dog? I'm trying not to take that personally. Sam takes out a small fake mustache kit and puts on a small pencil mustache in the same style as Adolf Hitler. Uh-oh, the Führer is here. Pretty convincing, huh, kid? The boy just stares wide-eyed at Sam. Sam turns around and walks through the door to the house.
David, remember those scripts we read before the podcast officially began, where I kept saying, you have a lot of kids getting traumatized. You should really work on that. I'm happy you brought it back. I don't think I am, actually. I don't think I'm happy you brought it back.
An innocent bystander is an effective plot device. I read that in a Spielberg memoir, and I've applied it.
Yes. God. Yes, that's what I love about E.T. when Spielberg had an innocent bystander and they're getting traumatized.
Interior house, continuous. The guards drunkenly laugh at their jokes as the doors open.
Hans, we were just talking about how much of a softie you are. Get in on in. Hey!
The guards look up at Sam, dressed as Hitler in simple German soldier outfit with camo face paint on. Everyone stops in the room. The polka music softly plays. The guards look up at Sam and back down at the uniform. The guards erupt in laughter. Excuse me. Hans, holy shit, Hans. This is the funniest disguise I have ever seen.
On the first point. And whatever you have done to change the shape of your face. Hello, my Führer.
Sam begins to speak, at first forgetting to do a German accent, but then he catches himself. Hello, man. How is the war going?
Very good, Mr. Hitler. All right, Hans, you can drop the act. Great stuff, by the way. I'll take the next shift.
well, first, the Fuhrer would like to inspect your weapon. The guards drunkenly laugh. Yes, we get it, Hans. Good one.
Hans, how did you do that to your face? You look terrible.
And Sam continues sniffing. This is no way to talk to a Fuhrer. Sam sniffs his nose again. Snot is leaking out of his nose.
Are you okay, Hans? I feel like I'm just doing Dr. Strangelove.
You might be. The cat hair is getting to me, I suppose. The camera cuts to the corner where we see a tabby cat wearing a black and red Nazi armband. The tabby cat's markings give her a black hair coloration over the cat's mouth, giving the cat the appearance of having a Hitler mustache. The cat is pinning the tail of a mouse down with one front paw. The mouse is trying to get away but cannot. It's a metaphor, you know? It's pretty
I love
deep.
metaphors. Yeah, I love them. It's a great job, man.
We see a straight-on shot of the cat looking into the camera.
I got this. I got this. Meow.
Translation for the cat's meow appears on the screen. You seem a bit off, Hans.
Do they understand the cat? Is it all the guards
it's
like?
just a little. It's just a little Nazi cat getting a little suspicious.
I like how you had him have a Hitler mustache to emphasize that he's a Nazi cat.
He's got a little armband on too.
Great imagery. Great imagery. Yeah.
Cute little Nazi cat. And the guard too goes, Hans, since when have you been allergic to Mauschwitz over here?
What a good name. What a good fucking name. And by that I mean that's terrible. You should be fucking ashamed of yourself.
Nothing in this script is worth it except for a Nazi cat being called Mauschwitz.
I hate all of this. I am offended as a Jew, or as a writer, really. This is awful. Let's continue, shall we?
Sam sniffs again.
Is everything all right with you? You're acting very strange. I'm like throwing up my vocal cords doing that voice.
Sam begins the buildup of a sneeze. It's a slow build. And as he contorts and inhales, the guards mimic his movement as their eyes grow wide and they lean further back in their seats. Sam sneezes loudly from his cat allergy. Achoo! The Hitler mustache that Sam was wearing flies off of his face and blows across the room. It lands smack on the cheek of guard one. Everybody freezes for a minute. Sam uses his sleeve to wipe his nose. He smears off a large area of face paint in the process. We see the shock and horror in guard one's eyes as he takes the mustache off of his cheek and stares at it. To be fair, I thought Chaplin wore it better.
Time out. No fucking old boy from Michigan saw Chaplin. You know that too. You know that just as well as I did.
Big deal at the time. He was.
You know this is bullshit.
It was back in the day when there was only like 3 celebrities. He was one of them. He was in the mix.
Bullshit.
They loved him. He adored. The guards all turn and look at each other, wide-eyed and shocked, before looking back at Sam. There's a moment of silence.
That's
not
Hans.
Well, Gesundheit to me, I guess. The guards all pull out their sidearms and begin firing shots. The camera
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I see the voiceover happening. I see the voiceover happening. I see what's going to happen.
The camera quickly freeze frames on Sam's face.
You piece of shit. You piece of shit. You knew that.
Yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here. Little old Sam Silver from nowhere, Michigan. So far from home. Dressed up like some absolutely evil Kraut bastard. Dressed up like the Fuhrer getting shot to death. I wish I could say I was smarter than this. I'm not. I never really did pay attention in school. But here I was, halfway around the world, on a mission to kill Nazis. And as usual, getting myself into quite a pickle.
Time out. Time out. That... I'm so angry at you. First of all, multiple levels. Freeze frame, really?
Yes, it's a buddy movie. It's a buddy movie in a classic early 90s, late 80s style. We're throwing the freeze frames in.
Is this fitting the writing prompt at all?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
For those,
Okay.
we never mentioned
I
at the
can
beginning.
explain myself.
No. Let me wait up. The writing prompt was, and given to us by a friend Amarez. Follow him at Amarez. He said, a man and a wife, or a man and a woman, are in art gallery, seeing him, looking at painting. That's where it starts. And now, here we are, watching Nazis get killed. Now I'm not done with my other points. Point number 2. David, I see the next scene changes. Interior classroom continuous. That's not how continuous works.
I don't know how continuous
Okay,
works.
okay, that's fine. Because we're going back to the past, it looks like. And that's not how continuous works.
Yeah, but like I meant the voiceover's still going. Like it's the
Okay.
same. It's all the same
Gotcha.
sequence.
We're just going 20 years in the fucking past. But like it's continuous from the scene.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Wait, let me explain the writing prompt because yes, you're right. That was the writing prompt for my portion here. So my original draft of this, when Sam goes into Nazi territory, he was going to go out as like a man on a mission by himself, and he was going to do that. He was going to use a social event as a diversion. So I was planning some social event among the officers along the front line in some quiet in-between war moment where the officers get together. You know, there's French officers in the mix, the Americans, maybe they're in Paris, like right after they've liberated Paris. And there was going to be like the reopening of some Parisian art gallery where we would see like the Mona Lisa or something that had survived the Nazis or whatever.
And it would have been the movie Monument Men.
Shit. Well, I haven't seen that, but great backdrop. I think that means that I'm completely onto something, and that would have been a stroke of genius instead of just a stroke. And
Monument Men rocks, dude. Bill Murray, John Goodman, Dan Aykroyd. They're just old art critics who steal from the Nazis.
It is a classic cast, and I did not know the context. But regardless, that was my idea for the scene. Now, the further I went down writing this script, the harder it was to shove that scene into the rest of what I had without writing a lot more of how they got there. And I could have pieced it together. You're right. I could have found a way to make it work. But in the end, it was easier to go with what I currently had, which was this opening scene where we kill the nicest Nazi in France, and then his friends unload, and then we freeze frame.
No, you know what? That's the title of the episode. Nicest Nazi in France. Second of all, I think we need a punishment for you. Here's like, I'm fine. You wrote something. I'm so proud of you. You wrote something, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. But we need a punishment. You went off the prompt. We have to establish something here.
It's a prompt. It's not a binding contract. It's a prompt.
Disagree.
It's supposed to get them the juices flowing.
Yes, I agree. We need to punish you, and I think.
Damn it.
I think we have to establish a punishment from here on out. We're going to talk about next episode what your punishment will be.
Okay. Yeah, let's have a guest pick a punishment.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Just kicking the can down the road for me.
Now, please
so anyway,
continue. This is my favorite script so far. Please continue.
So that's the opening freeze frame. So now we cut. He's still doing the voiceover. We cut to a classroom continuous. A teacher is addressing the class. I guess it first erupted in school. The teacher goes to sit down and a huge fart rips out at the table. Oh, by the way, just prepare yourself for like way too much fart humor. I didn't know the tone I was going for, and I relied on the cheapest tricks of the trade.
This is a 1980s movie. Starts off with killing Nazis and nothing but fart jokes for 3 pages, I'm guessing. You're right. You call it the tone, baby. You're doing a great job. You're going to make it Holly weird.
The teacher goes to sit down and a huge fart rips out at the table. All the children erupt in laughter. The teacher looks over at Sam, knowing he placed it on her seat.
Hey, that was
Sam,
good wordplay. I know it first erupted in school.
I know.
Fart joke.
Great
wordplay.
I know. Sam, voiceover. I wasn't particularly talented in school. You can be the teacher.
Say, male or female teacher?
Doesn't matter. Female, I guess.
Sam Silver. You'll never amount to anything if you keep mucking around.
Sam opens the window, jumps out, and takes off running.
Jesus Christ. That is an aggressive reaction to that.
It's a one-story schoolhouse.
Gotcha.
Voiceover. I never understood how some people just stood still and let life come at them. I was always playing by the boundaries of what was allowed.
People like you will never change the world. Sam, insert last name.
And what she didn't realize is that no one from here ever changes the world. Where I'm from, you don't need the world. You just need a best friend. And I had one. As Sam is running, another kid runs up next to him, Tyler. They smile. They keep running together. You can be Tyler.
I guess both our teachers got gas today. Oh, dark.
Oh, God. I didn't realize the Nazi parallels. Maybe it's foreshadowing. Voiceover from Sam. I wasn't the smartest kid around, and Tyler wasn't submitting anything to the science fair either. But that doesn't stop a pair of fellas from dreaming. Cut to exterior cowfield night. Continuous.
Compared to
The boys are-
field.
The boys are pushing against a cow that is larger than them. They keep pushing, but they can't seem to move it or tip it. Hey, Tyler, you ever dream of getting out of this place?
So this is a mid cow push. You're asking me this, right? Like
We're
leaning
pushing against the cow. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Out of here! What's out of here?
Sam sniffs his nose loudly.
And stop sniffing so loud, man.
I can't help these allergies, Tyler. But you ever think about what New York is like? Or Europe?
Is Sam allergic to cows and cats?
I'm setting up the fact that Sam's allergies are they're ubiquitous. He's allergic to everything. It's a
That
plot
starts with the letter
device that's
C.
just going to keep coming back and back and back.
I think you should make him only allergic to things that start with the letter C. That is so stupid. I would love that.
Oh my God. Okay, that's what we got.
Yes. Europe? I don't even know what I do outside the town, let alone some other country. Now shut up and tip this cow.
The boys give one last push and the cow topples over. From across the field, a light turns on at a quaint farmhouse and the door bursts open. Do you want to be the farmer?
God damn it, not you kids again!
Run! Gunfire breaks out as the farmer shoots in their general direction.
You better keep running.
Cut
This
to
makes sense. Yeah.
the exterior France. Sorry, what'd you say?
This makes sense. Yeah, farmers in Michigan would shoot children for tipping cows. That is the proper reaction.
I'm
I have
assuming he's
qualms
shooting
there.
like over their heads, you know?
I'm assuming he's aiming for headshots.
I think there's a backstory here where this farmer's getting a lot of cows tipped and he's quite fed up.
I think his cows are traumatized, as that child was. There's more trauma in the story that we realized.
Exterior France, continuous. Again, notice every scene change has been a continuous change. As we cut from the boys running,
know what this is.
as we cut from the boys running through an American field, we cut forward in time and see an older version of themselves running through a battlefield in France. Long yellow wheat grows across the landscape, and we can see it getting torn apart by huge artillery explosions. Sam,
That would
continuing
not
the
be
voiceover.
continuous. That's a different scene, so it'd be later or like 3 years later.
But it's the
It'd be
same
cool.
voiceover.
That's not how that works.
We did a lot of running that summer. Even more running in France 5 years later. You had to. We'd run from artillery fire, run from bullets, run from a whole mess of different places during training. But mostly, we ran to be first in line for dinner. Cut to interior mess hall, continuous. Now we're going to introduce some new characters. We see Officer Fox holding up Sam's whoopee cushion with a stern look on his face. Soldiers in the background pass by with trays of food. Sam and Tyler both look down at their feet, feigning shame. Voiceover. I guess you can teach a dog new tricks, but he still might like the old ones. Officer Fox is staring at them tight-lipped and furious. You can be Fox.
Oh, good. You sophomore jobs can't expect a whole slew of busy work from this.
Did you make the officer even more country than them? That's my... I didn't
He used the word
anticipate that.
yobs. Yobs is pretty damn country.
Oh, Yobs is from English boarding schools because it's boys backwards.
Really? I
Yeah,
learned something
yeah,
today. Thanks, bud.
yeah. Same with sophomoric, I think. I don't know. I have a lot of knowledge that's not useful
Sophomoric-
anywhere else.
Sophomoric means wise fools. Comes from Socrates.
No, sophomoric is a bent of immaturity, like your
No.
sophomores.
Sophomore means wise fool.
Oh boy. You know what? That does sound like something I guess that does make sense. I thought that the modern definition had a air of immaturity.
Oh, we're
about
doing
it.
a modern definition? Then I go back to Yobs being a fucking country thing. So I'm back and I win.
No, definition of sophomore, relating to or characteristic of a sophomore. Pretentious or juvenile. I'm sorry, my dude, but I did some research there.
Look at the origins of the word baby.
Alrighty. Agree to disagree.
Oh, we'll do this later. We'll do this later.
The most important thing is that we cut to interior field continuous. This one shouldn't be continuous. I get it now.
Yeah.
And here,
I'm sorry, continue. I was just saying I was being pedantic. I literally Googled when whoopee cushions were invented, and just to be like, well, actually, they weren't invented till. But you're good. You're a good time. 1920s.
Oh, I'm good. Oh, okay. That's convenient because I didn't look that up at all. Okay. So Sam, this actually shouldn't be continuous. I understand now. But this is this is when we take a turn to kind of like The Office in terms of camera style. So these two guys, they're talking to the camera. Okay. So Sam and Tyler standing in a field holding rakes, talking to the camera.
That's kind of surreal, right? Like I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like the idea of like a work sitcom at the war in the 1940s. That's funny, but it's just like objectively, what are they talking to? Is it just like this one extra soldier they just call him Camera? That'd be fucking hilarious. It's just like, yeah, my boy Camera over here. It's talking to him. They just all confess their deepest emotions to Camera.
They had film cameras. They got the 16 millimeter.
You think they just guy walking around filming these fucking everyday grunts? Like, just we're doing a documentary. Like, what's a documentary? Yeah. What is 1945?
They put cameramen on the front lines towards the end of the war to film everything. So this is just a part of that story.
I like that. That's cool. All right, I'm gonna gym look every time. Honestly, getting assigned to health and sanitation has been a welcome change for me. It's downright peaceful out here.
Tyler gestures around to the sparse field they are in. That's a spelling mistake. Right next to the barracks and other base facilities. He don't mean that. He'll be back to killing Nazis soon.
I do mean that. I didn't like all that shooting stuff too much. I'm not sure I'm cut out for the killing anything. I'm a big fan of Tyler. I think I love Tyler. Yeah.
I think Tyler's written for you.
Yeah.
Well, this is why we disagree. How does someone make a name for themselves, do their hometown proud, when they can't even go kill Hitler because they're raking away in some field? Sam gestures wildly about.
Not for nothing, but I can just fart whenever I want. Whistle while I work even. Life is pretty easy in between visits from the officers.
Sam shrugs. Sure, I mean, I guess you can find a few benefits.
You know what's nice? In war, when you're not at the barracks or standing at the detention or working on a drill or frankly getting yelled at, you can just fart where you please. Tell me how being out in the open when breaking wind isn't better than being anywhere else right now. A lot of fart jokes.
A lot of fart jokes. Yesterday, we had to burn all the feces from the latrines. I wasn't a fan of that.
Feces is also spelled incorrectly.
Truth to power.
I didn't mind that. Could fart plenty there too. Okay, Tyler needs more character development than farting.
I know. I was working on that this morning, but Plum ran out of time.
Oh, gosh darn it.
Sam sighs.
We're a couple of yobs over here.
This is the titular scene, though. Tyler farts, and they both look at each other and pause. Sam cracks a smile in disbelief, and they both laugh. When the laughter quiets down, Sam farts, and they laugh again.
Whoever said war weren't no fun. Never spent a day just raking in the field, farting away.
All right. It's not so bad, that's true. But I can't help but feel that our natural talents are lying fallow out in these here fields when we could be, say...
killing Hitler. Oh, no, dude. I'm going to argue. Use the word dude. I know. You said that already.
In the background, mortar fire lands close by. There's a whizzing sound of incoming artillery. A group of soldiers runs through looking for cover.
Incoming!
A mortar strikes and the soldiers are hit. The soldiers fall to the ground bloodied and in pain. Tyler takes off his cap and throws it on the ground in anger.
I just raked there.
Goddamn Krauts! They run over to the wounded man who's on the ground in agonizing pain. They start raking up the field around him. What do you think of that scene?
Tyler, once again, needs what's it called? More development than
More
farting.
development. Yep. Oh, I agree.
Also, I like that literally Sam's whole thing. He's like, we got to kill Hitler, otherwise our family will be proud. I'm like, I feel like there's other levels of proudness. You don't have to be the one to kill Hitler. I feel like he should learn that in somewhere along the way.
He's obsessing with the idea of being the hero. I think that's what I wanted to develop more, is that he's this guy, chronic underdog, class clown, always getting into trouble. And he's like, I got to prove myself. And he's fixated on the most extreme way to prove himself. And probably through a series of missteps and misadventures, he realizes that his friendship was the way to prove himself the whole time. And by having Tyler's back, that is how he could really prove himself as a human.
I don't know if he wants to be near his back, because according to the story, it's live fire back there. I don't know. Like, did they know about IBS back then? Because Tyler might have it. I think that's the biggest concern.
I think I'd like that story.
I don't think the canteen's doing these fellas any favors.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the tone of the script. It's like people are getting blown up and dying, and then they're just like, God damn it, I just raked there. Cleaning up the battle.
Yeah. Yes, because I too would be upset at the lawn work I did when it's mortar fired and a man exploded in front of me. I empathize.
Got to suspend that disbelief, my friend. Interior hallway, continuous. Again,
Incorrect.
Abusing that word. A group of medics carry a bloodied man on a stretcher running by. The sound of mortars in the background. We see Sam mopping up. And sure, health and sanitation wasn't all bad, but I still had dreams. Sam looks up at a poster of Hitler. I'm going to get you, you bastard.
I feel like you're using continued incorrectly at some places too.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Listen, I'd like to address all crowd. If you're still listening, how? But I'd like to address you real quick.
Got gold in here, baby.
We're just it's fine if you fuck up the scene heading. This is a learning process. We like this. This is good. This is just riffing between friends. This is how we get better. Mocking in a public venue forever while discussing the benefits of Nazism earlier on in the script. This is how people improve in life.
Okay, now we're going to get a little bit of a tone shift. We're going to introduce some villains.
Oh, God.
Cut to interior officer's office. I don't know the term for that. Officer's corridors? I don't know how it works. Didn't look it up. Anyway, Officer Fox stands in front of the window. Officer Thorne sits in the guest chair in Officer Fox's office. That's a real tongue twister. So you'll continue to be Officer Fox. I'll be Officer Thorne.
Okay. It couldn't be done.
It doesn't need to be done well.
We're thin enough on good men as it is.
Then use bad men.
You're asking me to do something that's against everything we've been told.
I'm asking you to take a creative solution to a tough problem.
It's risky.
It's a perfect distraction. The files just need to get across enemy lines. But after that, it's out of our hands. But it's got to look real.
It's practically murder.
Negligence, at best.
Let me ask you something. You ever have diarrhea, really?
I forgot about this, and I definitely, in hindsight 2020, want to delete it.
Okay.
But you're about to get an extended diarrhea metaphor, so buckle the fuck up. Can you give me that line again?
Let me ask you something. You ever have diarrhea?
I ate in the mess hall once or twice, yes.
This is a diarrhea situation.
I'm not sure I understand.
Once you open those gates, there's not stopping the fluid. It'll just keep coming and coming. Right now, we're waddling around, sure. We're out like a couple of ducks. We wanted to eat from a sketchy food truck. We knew it might be blow up in our face, but we still did it. Now we're waddling.
Well, be that as it may,
And sooner rather than later, you'll find yourself up late at night on the can, praying for it to stop. But it will never stop. You'll just be begging for it to end, just crouched over, wishing you never ate that damn burrito in the first place.
Look,
burritos.
I get the analogy. Can we just...
But the diarrhea don't care. No, the diarrhea don't.
It will only end once all the shit has been ripped out of you. Once your gut has spasmed one last time, and then it will be done. But the cost cannot be seen until you get up and look in the bowl.
Okay, Fox, Jesus Christ.
It's a metaphor.
Look, I've no clue what it's for, but I don't know, but I do know that everything can be cleaned up.
God help us. Get me health and sanitation.
So, I'm intrigued by the choice that you made him like a Southern gentleman.
Yes.
I like that you stuck with it, and you really brought a new life to the character.
Really, I think the Southern drawl describing the intricacies of diarrhea really sold it for me.
My favorite subtle line that doesn't work because it's not a thing yet is just this Officer Thorne not knowing what a metaphor is, and Officer Fox being like, "It's a metaphor," and he's like, "Look, I've no clue what it's for."
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, that's funny. It's one of those things you have to read.
Yeah, I needed to highlight that because it's not done well, but there might be something there.
Yeah. All right, continue.
So we've set up we just want to recap this. So we've set up the villains here. So these guys, there's some plot afoot. They're going a little outside the lines of the army, but it's wartime. They got to get some files across enemy lines as a distraction. You know, what's going on here? And then the end, get me health and sanitation. How is this all going to tie in with our Sam across the front lines in France, as we saw before? So we cut back to interior utility closet. Tyler and Sam clean their mops in a utility sink. They're in a dimly lit closet full of cleaning supplies.
I'm happy here, man. I don't want to go back to the front or anywhere else.
I'm telling you, fellas like us, we weren't made to be cleaners.
But I'm good at being a cleaner. Maybe I was made to be a cleaner. Maybe I was made to mop and rake and sanitize. Sure, seems a lot easier than all this Hitler killing you keep talking about.
We're underutilized here. Our natural talents are just begging us to kill some krauts.
The only way I could kill one of these krauts is if I fell in love with him and slowly over a series of years added more and more rat poison to his coffee. Even then, he'd probably die of natural causes. Okay, all right.
Hey, that's not bad. Sam takes a mop and puts the end over Tyler's head like hair. I think you'd make a pretty German bride. Tyler swats away at the mop hair.
You're not hearing me, Sam.
I'm hearing you, man. I'm hearing you look this whole war in the face and say, that's not for me.
But it's not for me.
You want to go back to Michigan and tell people you were a janitor for the war?
I want to go back to Michigan and find myself a nice woman.
But we got a date right here, Tyler.
Not this again, Sam.
A date with destiny.
The only woman who wouldn't stand you up.
She might not seem like she calls old Sam too much, but she's the only woman who believes in me.
Wow.
And that's all I got.
So, a few things.
I want to say, first of all, what we get as an audience out of this scene and what we get as an audience out of the scene where they're talking to the camera staring in a field are like the same. So they should probably be collapsed into one. Like there's I don't know what the extra point is with this scene. You know, we still just learn the same thing. Tyler is happy where he is, wants to go back home. Sam wants to prove himself, and yeah.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. And feel free to correct.
Yeah, no, go.
I think I love the concept, but I think you have to specify what you want it to be. Do you want this? Is this a movie to you, or is this a TV pilot script?
So I was waffling on that. I think there were two ways that I saw this happening. One is it is a rompy buddy comedy about two fellas behind enemy lines in occupied France getting up to some hijinks, trying to find each other and kill Hitler. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. And also dealing with the banality of evil of their own generals, right? As Officer Fox or officers, whatever. So that's one way to take it. The other is a very fun, lighthearted, office-type television show called Health and Sanitation about the health and sanitation crew in occupied France. And I don't know what this wants to be.
See, exactly. Like I think you got avenues here, bud. You can if you do the
health and sanitation side. I love that. Like it's a very funny way to twist the genre because the office sitcom, the workplace sitcom is definitely flooded concept nowadays. But like people like What We Do in the Shadows, it's fucking hilarious how it's like, oh yeah, we have a camera crew, we don't acknowledge them. It's so good. If you do that with like here, it's like so the army is spending how much money to have this camera crew following around? Like $14 million. Like okay, cool. And who's gonna see this? Like, well, technically it's just going to official records. We don't know if anyone's gonna see it. All right, cool. We're not gonna get a fuck that.
Yeah, I think that could actually that would be probably more fun to see overall, and even expand it from Sam and Tyler. I think that there should be a whole crew of people here, and like What We Do in the Shadows, that type of vibe, just in in a France that is torn between occupied and liberated.
Yeah, I like
which
that.
I guess in the timeline is not 2 weeks before Hitler's death. They had already made it to Germany by that point.
I think it'd be so funny though if it was like in German. If you switch it though, and you decide to do that movie of this guy obsessed with killing Hitler beforehand, and he's convinced Hitler killed himself because he had nothing to do with it, but he's just going full Rambo, just a full crazy person, a mentally unstable person doing all these things. Like, you just killed a dog. What is wrong with you? Like that child is traumatized.
Yeah, I think that the movie would be harder to pull off and make it like cohesive and interesting. It's probably easier to make a very campy, kind of like MASH, but plus The Office.
Yeah, no, exactly. And MASH rocks. MASH holds up.
MASH does hold up. I watched it for the first time during lockdown.
And you're like, oh, fuck, it's good.
It was really good, yeah.
Damn. All right. I had a great time reading the script. Good job, despite my several problems with your use of the word continuous and the fact these characters all have IBS, and there could be other jokes in there. I think it was fun. You know what? And I love, actually, there was some development. I actually understood some of these characters. So I definitely think you did what you're trying to do.
Are you saying I developed as a writer?
At least you developed as a writer, baby. At least one of them. Hell yeah. You're on your way. This is steps in progress.
That makes me so happy to hear.
I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you. You know what? I'm just really upset there's no one to join us on this adventure. No one else can see this but me.
This was a fun little one. I had some fun and learned a lot, and I'm happy that here's what I like about this format. I don't have to finish this. Now I will never open this file again. I will continue to live my life. It will be okay. Oh boy, we lost you. Oh boy, the stream. Alrighty. Well, I've got to get back to David here. And don't know what happened, but I want to say on behalf of the pod, thank you for sticking around. Fuck the Nazis, even the nice ones. They're not people we want to associate with. And if you do have IBS, help is on the way. That's been the pod this week. We have no prompts for next week. We'll roll the dice, and I'll talk to you later. Love you. Good night.
Also, we do have a prompt for next week. Write a story about farmyard animals. Hopefully that's not a disaster. See you then.